What up, what up? It's your boy Tony MC in the place to be, and welcome to another episode of the Rap Basil podcast. You already know we are out here at the Nucleus Hub inside the Art of Hip Hop, so shout out to all them good people over there for having us. We're here in the building with a very dope graffiti artist. Actually, I wouldn't just label him as a graffiti artist. He's actually a very dope creative, has done a lot of work all over the world. Give it up for my boy, Atomik. What's up, man?
Chilling, how are you?
Good, man. Chilling. How's everything with you, bro?
I'm doing good. So far, so good. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. I had to get you in the building because, as I was telling you before, we have the new Rap Basil experience on Airbnb right now. Hit up the Airbnb app to go book that right now. Your pieces are all over the place, man. And not only that, but like your pieces are all over Miami, the state of Florida, all over the world. So we had to get you in here, man. Like it was a no-brainer.
Thank you. You said there's one on the way to. Where's it at?
Yeah. So you go down this street right here, and then you make that left. You go around the corner. I believe it's down 25th, either 25th or 24th.
On the RC Cola factory.
Right there.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's a little high up there. So like I'm pretty sure you have your own ways of getting up there, right?
Yeah. I think for that one we had a lift. If it's the same one, I'm thinking there's a lift and. It was really raining when we did that one.
Oh, wow.
The RC Cola factory, there's a huge wall that we painted with the MSG crew.
Right.
And I painted it with Atomik, and it was like torrential downpour when we were doing that, and we just kept painting through the storm. It didn't matter. It was.
Wow, that's crazy. How do you get through that? Like when it's raining and you have, or even like really windy or any of those kinds of conditions, like, how do you push through?
I just keep painting. I go for it and do my thing. On that particular one, if you look very close, you'll see drips and splatters from the rain, but the paint really like adhered to the wall, and it didn't stop me from painting, didn't stop my friend Atomik from painting, and we just pushed through on that one. As far as like the rain goes, you can just paint right through it for the most part. As far as the snow and the freezing temperatures go, that's a whole different situation.
I'm sure, yeah.
Hand freezes, your finger, the paint, everything is like working different, and it's hard to do it in the snow.
Yeah, I'm sure, man. I'm sure. And I think that you were telling me earlier about a story about you in Philly and like your hands were freezing, man. Like tell the people about that.
Yeah, no, that's happened to me before. The first time it was in Brooklyn, New York. I was painting with Deck and the 2DX crew. We were doing some trains, and my finger just froze. It was, you lose feeling, your finger goes numb, and you're trying to like hold a metal spray can and use it to paint something, and it's just very difficult. This last time I was in Philadelphia with Raim and Kame at the Badlands, and it was not easy. Next time I go to a freezing city or a freezing destination, I'm gonna bring hand warmers and have them inside Gorilla Grip gloves, and then I'll be able to go. And my hands will be able to work. That won't necessarily mean the spray can will work, but yeah, certain conditions, the can starts acting up and you're not physically capable of doing what you do in normal temperature.
I think it's dope that, you're able to overcome those challenges like at any point in time. And, I feel like it doesn't really affect your art. And even if it did, like, who's going to notice because it looks so good, right?
Yeah, luckily what I'm painting is I've done it thousands of times. And even if there are some mistakes and problems with what I'm painting, when you see it from far away, you can't really tell those little mistakes. It doesn't necessarily matter. Usually my work is being seen from further away and not right up close, and you can't tell.
Talk about like how you got into art in general.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been into art my whole life. I had a talent for drawing early on that my parents saw, and they got me classes outside of public school, and I like went to art classes on the weekends, and then as far as like continuing that, I went into like a magnet program. So instead of going to Arvida, I went to Southwood for a magnet arts program.
Okay.
And that was cool. I got into like graffiti in the late elementary years, and then in junior high, I was like drawing a lot of graffiti. Of course, I was seeing a lot of graffiti in my neighborhood and around the city when I would go with my parents or whatever, or go on field trips or just go around. And then when I got into high school is when I started spray painting graffiti and spray painting, using the spray can to make pieces and art and murals and stuff. And ever since high school, the first year of high school is when I started actually spraying, and that's how I got into it. I've always been like a ADD type of hyperactive, always like outside climbing, running around, doing stuff.
Yeah.
And that mixed with my talent for art kind of kept me interested in doing spray can art and graffiti stuff, you know?
Nah, that's dope. I feel like those pieces were probably a lot different than what you're doing now, right?
Yeah, those were letter based.
Okay.
I grew up doing like my tag and writing my name and my crew and things like that from like the mid 90s to the late 2000s is when I did my letter based graffiti.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I paint my character now,
Right.
And that's a whole different topic. But
Yeah, of course, and we're gonna get into that.
Yeah, my tag is Atomic, and it always has been Atomic. And I started off painting with the TSC crew, which stood for Taking South Cities, and then I got into a bigger and a better crew called MSG, which is Miami Style Graffiti, and I'm part of different collectives from Los Angeles, New York, South America, Asia, and it's really cool to just like, you know, paint my stuff and do my thing.
Where did you get the name Atomic? Like, where did that come from?
My friend gave it to me, my friend Honor.
Okay.
His tag was Honor. He doesn't write anymore, but back then, my friend Honor gave me the tag Atom, A-T-O-M.
Okay.
And my name is Adam, A-D-A-M. So I don't know if he came up with Atom based off of Adam, but there was already some like artists that were established that went by the name Atom. There was one specific Atom from Brooklyn. He was published in the book Spray Can Art.
Okay.
And there's a picture of him, old school in the 80s, with a belt buckle. It says Atom. The piece in the back says Atom. And I was like, you know what? I got to do something like different. I can't do this guy's name. So I put the IK on it. And now we have Atomic, and that's like, you know, I spell it A-T-O-M-I-K, but I've done pieces where like I do A-T-O-M-I-C-K,
Okay.
or sometimes I'll do it correctly. I have a certain signature that when I spell it, it's with a C instead of a K, just spelled correctly. And then a lot of people know me by my IG name, Atomico. So when I signed up for IG, Atomic with a K was taken, and Atomic with a C was taken. So I put a O after Atomic, and that's my IG name, my username, and a lot of people know me by that as well. So
Of course.
yeah, you know, it's that's how I got my name.
Man, history, bro.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about how you created the orange, man, because from what I was reading, like it was inspired by the Orange Bowl destruction, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
When they knocked down the Orange Bowl, that's when I painted my first orange. It was in 2008, and I painted with my friend Edge, and my friend Dunce was there, but he didn't paint. And we went to the abandoned Modern Age furniture store on the Golden Glades interchange off of the Palmetto.
Okay.
You're on the Palmetto Expressway, and you're headed east right before you get into that big interchange of 95 and 163rd and the turnpike
Right.
and all that. By the arch over there by Miami Gardens or whatever, boom, there was a furniture store was abandoned. We climbed onto the roof and did Atomic and Edge, and in the middle of the names, I put Obi, the orange,
Right.
and it had a sad face instead of a smiling face because,
Damn.
you know, if you grew up in Miami and you went to Hurricanes games there, it was a like sacred place. You know,
Yep.
there was a
I
lot of
remember.
like energy in that particular stadium.
Yeah.
So I felt like, damn, you know, they knocked down this stadium, and I need to memorialize it. So I went and I put up that piece, and I put the year it was built, the year it was demolished. I put the sad face on it, and then something just like, I don't know, I just kept going with it. Instead of doing the letters all the time, which I had been doing for like 15 years or like maybe 13 years up to that point, it's difficult to paint letters. Letters is like all perfect lines and shapes, and it's just not really like organic. So painting this character was fun. It was kind of less of a mission for me. It was a relief. So I just kept going with it and rocked the orange. I got really good feedback from it, and that's where it started. That's where the origins of my character come from.
I think it's great that you did that, first of all, because now that you did, it's more of like people associate that with you and the Orange Bowl's history and all that. Like it's definitely memorialized at this point, and now it's evolved, right? It's because you've done so many different renditions of it over
Right.
the years. Talk about that. Like, how did it evolve over the years for you?
Well, so, okay, in the beginning, I did a spray painted version of it, of just the face with the crown, and it was frowning. Now, if you know the character, I think it was when FedEx was sponsoring the bowl game, it's a different character than it is now. Now it's not even a character. Now their logo, now the Orange Bowl game, the college football, champion game or whatever it is just a like sleek orange with a crown. It doesn't have eyes or a smile or a nose or none of that. The one before that had a face. And that's where I got my inspiration for it. They sent me a cease and desist. The Miami Orange Bowl committee sent MSG Crew a cease and desist. We were doing blogs at the time. This was when blogs had just popped off. Everyone had a blog, and it was the thing, and bam. They sent an email to the blog saying, hey, we see that you're selling shirts. We see that you're doing this with our personal intellectual property, which is trademarked and registered, and you have to stop it. So ever since that email, I started doing it just hand-drawn and hand-painted. Because I studied graphic design from 1999 to 2002, I studied graphic design. And then I worked as a graphic designer until 2006, let's say. So I was familiar with the program, so I would take the orange and do certain things to it, and it was their logo that I was changing up and adding a spray can or adding whatever type of flip to it. So they got wind of it and they said to stop doing it, and I started doing my own hand-drawn version of it, which had some of the similar properties. Really the only thing that is similar is the eyes. If you look at the one that I referenced in the beginning, it's the eyes, and it's these Pac-Man eyes. I don't know if you see.
I can see.
They kind of look like Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Very traditional cartoon comic book type of thing, and that's in the original character that I got my reference from. But it has just evolved since then, and I've changed it a bunch, and now I don't even do the nose. This is a piece from 2019, and now instead of doing this poke and then coming out with the lip, now I just lose the nose and just do this. I mean, a bunch of things have changed in my character and my art over the years, and it's evolved. I think it's been 15 years, 16 years, maybe even 17 years since I've been doing this character.
Yeah, 17 years ago. I can't believe it. I graduated high school at 2008, so I know it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's weird because I started doing it in 2008, but it wasn't until 2010 that I fully committed to doing it, because I was already, like I said, doing my graffiti, doing my tag and my crew, and that was my main thing. That was my art. That's what I focused on. But then from 2008, I kind of weaned off of the letters and the graffiti crew and all that stuff. Not that I'm not saying that I dropped the crew. I'm still down with the crew, but I wasn't pushing it every time I wrote.
Right.
I was now doing a character, so it was a natural progression. So I usually say 2010 is when I really started. So that's 15 years ago. But if you go back to 2008, then we're talking 17 years of painting this thing, and it's cool. It's been a good journey so far.
Man, it sure as hell has been, man. I think that you've definitely gotten so much better at it. What was your first commission piece? Do you remember what it was, where it was and how you felt doing it?
Well, my first commission, you see, that's difficult. My first commission piece, probably painting one of my friends' rooms. I remember sneaking out of my parents' house when I was still living in Kendall and going to paint my friend's room. And I remember I painted his room, and we didn't even open up a window or nothing, and it was just fogged out. And then when I got back to my house, my mom was sleeping in my bunk bed, so she was like, "You're in trouble." You get what I'm saying? She got me. Yeah. So I don't even think that I was paid for that. I can't remember my first commission. To be completely honest with you, I don't remember the first time I was paid to do my art, and it was probably on some paint my room, you know, and they just bought the paint, or I supplied the paint, or they bought some food or something. As far as going back to getting paid for it, I can't tell you. I really don't remember when my first commission was. I mean, if it goes to the orange now, if you fast forward to my first commission on the orange, I can't even remember that.
Oh, wow.
I remember the first pieces I made for the purpose of exhibiting the work and putting it on canvas and showing it and intending to sell it. And I want to say that was like 2012, because
Okay.
I still have one of the 9 pieces that I made for that show. It was in some dude's apartment. Like, it wasn't at a legit gallery or anything. And it was a group show, and I made 9 of these, like, 12 by 12 squares with my orange. And, yeah, I still have one of them, and that's dated 2012. So as far as my first commission goes, I couldn't tell you. I painted a lot of spots and a lot of different rooms and businesses and done a lot of designs for people. And I can't remember the first time I was actually paid to make my orange or to, make art for someone.
Between that time, when did you get involved with the crews? Because I know you mentioned that you were down with a couple crews before. Talk about your time with them.
Well, I'm still down with crews. I mean, I could list off a whole bunch of crews. The first crew that I was in was BC crew, and I got into BC. No. You see, I'm fast forwarding. The first crew that I got into was KRM, and KRM stood for Crazy Writing Motherfuckers. Okay, crazy spelled wrong and writing is spelled wrong.
That's
Motherfuckers is spelled right. But KRM was the first crew I got into, and shout out to my homie D-Tech, still my dog. I got a lot of love for Eli. He's doing big things in Atlanta, Georgia. But yeah, that was the first crew that I got into. Then the second crew that I got into, I want to say, was probably BC, which was Beyond Control, and it was dudes from my junior high, but it was in high school already, like the beginning years of high school. And it was Daniel Fila that got me into that crew. I was telling you about him before we started recording. That's Crave. Shout out to Crave. And he's killing it. We had some really good members in that crew. Most notably now, Daniel Arsham was in that crew. He's an incredible artist. He's killing it. Shout out to Daniel Arsham. Then after BC, it was kind of like I started pushing. I maybe in between KRM and BC, it was TK. My neighborhood crew was TK with True and Co's. Shout out to Co's, Jimmy. Those were like the first crews that I really started pushing. And then there was another couple crews, MH and GX and whatever. Then there was TSE. And TSE was a crew that was originally from South Miami. And that's, with my homie Quake. And we did I did like my best early work with TSE crew. And then after, TSE, I'd say that we were painting under that name for maybe 5 years, 7 years. We gained a lot of like clout or whatever notoriety within the graffiti scene here in Miami. And then we used to party with the MSGs. MSGs were older. Miami Style Graffiti Crew was an older crew than us, and they had already set the tone for their crew. They like bombed the whole city, bombed all of the Tri-County area from probably the Keys up to Palm Beach and abroad as well. They traveled, and they were doing, not only were they bombing and doing highway signs and track sides and rooftops, they were doing like full-fledged murals that were incredible, like astonishing murals that you look at and say, how did someone do this with a spray can? It was like impressive.
Right.
So that was a no-brainer for us to get down with MSG crew. And yeah, I mean, from there, like I said, I also push SH and K2S and LOD. These are crews from Los Angeles, California. At one point, I was pushing DAA, which is Inc. 76's like spin-off crew. Then I started pushing 2DX, Dex crew, and those are New York crews right there. But then there's also Tokyo Zombies. I have some friends in Tokyo that started a crew called TZ. So I'll push Tokyo Zombies crew.
Wow.
There's also APC, which is a crew from South America, from I think Colombia and Mexico. So I think it started in Colombia and then like spread out to Central America and North America, and has a bunch of people all over the world. But yeah, I've been part of a lot of crews, and I'm still down with all of those crews. I don't really know, like, if there's one crew that I left on a bad note, like, oh, you're not in this anymore, like, we're kicking you out, don't ever write it again. Like, yeah, that's not really, like, a situation that has happened. I can't say I've ever left a crew like that. But yeah, it's just growing up, painting, doing the thing, and meeting new people, and yeah, it's cool.
Man, I feel like you've been all over the world with your work, man. I've seen, photos of you tagging up places in Ecuador recently.
Quito.
Quito, right? Talk about your other explorations and like what maybe is like the coolest place that you've ever put the orange.
Yeah, well, people always ask me that, and I always reply with the what's the best spot, what's the best place, destination you ever went to, and I always reply with the last place that I went. So the last place that I went traveling, got on an airplane and left Miami was New York City, and I was invited to paint at the Graffiti Hall of Fame, which is on 106 and Park. They actually have like the street named
I've heard
after
of it, yeah.
them. And it's legit. I didn't paint on the wall within the park or on the outside of the park. I painted a cube that was like wrapped in canvas, but that was still cool that I was invited and paint and I did my thing in there. I painted during the event. That was cool. As far as leaving the country goes, my last trip was to Nicaragua. And we didn't stay in Managua. We went from Managua to San Juan del Sur, around there more or less, south of Managua. And I linked up with the homie Rare, RER. And we painted over there kind of like by just outside of the city, whatever. It was cool. Central America's really cool. I've been to a bunch of different places. The first place that I went to outside of Miami, as far as getting on a plane, was Puerto Rico. I went and painted over there at like on my grandma's house in Mayagüez in the mountains. Like,
oh wow, nice.
No one really is gonna see that. I painted in my uncle's backyard in Cabo Rojo. That was cool, But I was still in high school, so it wasn't like I was going out on my own and like painting in the streets. But yeah, as far as like traveling abroad and leaving the country, that started, I want to say in 2007, 2008, where I visited Madrid and Barcelona. I also went to Rome and Milan, and I visited Amsterdam as well on that trip. Europe's incredible. I've been back several times and visited other countries and cities, and the UK. Like I don't necessarily know if the UK is like in the mix, but UK got it going on as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as far as like traveling and painting, I've been to Asia and Africa and Australia, South America.
All six continents at least.
Yeah,
except for Antarctica.
I got to hit Antarctica. I think someone did hit Antarctica. Though.
Really?
Someone went and spray painted in Antarctica.
Wow,
I don't know who it was or what it said, but I did get a story. Someone like sent me a story of someone painting graffiti in Antarctica. So that's definitely on my bucket list.
Oh,
but
wow.
okay, my favorite city, I think, that has the most graffiti in it and the best scene is Sao Paulo, Brazil.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Sao
bro.
Paulo.
Damn. And I'm sure they have a crazy scene out there.
Yeah, I think that Sao Paulo is the largest metropolis in the southern hemisphere, and they got it going on.
Yeah.
There's like there's just like an abundance of active artists and vandals and designers and whatever, street artists, whatever you want to call them. There's people painting and stickering and pasting and just like it's madness. If you haven't been there, just go see it for yourself and check out Sao Paulo. I'm sure you could go to certain parts of Sao Paulo and you won't see a lick of graffiti because it's such a big city that I'm sure that there's little like neighborhoods or like districts within that it's all fancy and you won't see one tag. But where I went and where I stayed and what I did was painted, and I was just, impressed. When I went there the first time, I think it was 2010, and then when I went back last year, 2024, I still had one piece running from back then, like 10 years prior or whatever. Wow. But it's just covered. It's covered. Sao Paulo's covered, and there's a lot of cities that are covered in graffiti. But in my opinion, my favorite one is Sao Paulo, Brazil.
That's what's up. You said you've been to Colombia. Did you do Comuna 13 at all?
Nah, never been. I really keep my shit underground, to be completely honest with you.
I get
and everyone knows about Comuna 13. I painted in Comuna 1, Comuna 9, Comuna 14, but when you go to Comuna 13, it's like going to Wynwood.
Right, exactly.
And it's kind of played out. It's dope. Don't get me wrong. It's dope. It looks really cool. Like, I want to go and I want to paint and I want to do something there.
Yeah.
But there's tours and there's everything over there.
It's a lot, man.
It's a real.
It's packed all the time.
And it's painted, but like, I can't tell you how good the experience was in Comuna 9. My homie Plaga and Torre and Senor OK. These dudes, when we went back, because I've been to Medellin twice and Bogota once, and I went to Medellin just a couple years ago, maybe last year. It's hard to like grasp time. I went to see my dog Zeno, and I went with Zemix and Naps, and they invited us. My homies from there invited us to paint a wall, and they had a nice wall set up for us. It was in Comuna 9. There was a soccer field right there. They had a DJ. They had like a soup cooking the whole time, and it was just like they lit the candle, the floating lantern to commemorate the moment after we painted, and it was magical.
Nah, that's dope.
So, I mean, I've painted in some comunas. I painted in a bunch of favelas, and it's dope. But to answer your question, I have not been to Comuna 13, and one day I'd like to go.
Nah, so I could definitely see you painting out there for sure.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. I mean, it's a favela. It's like it's dope. There's a bunch of favelas out there. The one that I would compare to 13 is probably 14, the one that's right next to it, and like same shit. You're like, you take the thing up, you take the metro up, but it's like a cable car, and then you get off at a stop, and then you like walk down to the next stop.
Yeah.
If you even make it to the next stop. A lot of people don't even make it to the next stop, because Comuna 13 is one thing. It's probably all cool, whatever. I don't know, there's security. But like when you walk through a comuna, through a favela, you're going to get checked. Someone's going to be like, hey, what are you doing here? Like, do you want something? Like, what's going on? Like, why are you here? So, I've been to a bunch of them, and I know the flow of it. I've seen so many pictures of it, and it really looks like 14 to me. I think I've been to 14 2 times, and once we went without any locals. It was just a bunch of us, like, knowing that we had to go there, and we went there and like climbed down and painted in like, a couple spots on the staircases, saw a couple of the locals, did a couple of the local thing, and then bam, painted like in the soccer field, or the soccer, like, it's not even a field but a court, concrete, like soccer, and then just kept walking down and went to the train station, whatever. But yeah, the scene in Medellin is dope, and there's a lot of good graffiti scenes in South America, just point blank.
Overall.
Yeah.
No, that's
South
dope,
America's
man.
awesome for graffiti, amongst other things.
Of course. Now, you said that you've done plenty of different types and variations of the orange. Obviously, that draws a lot of attention, right? So, what kind of like cosigns have you gotten from like, anybody like that means something to you? And who was the one that shocked you the most?
So I would say the Marlins was cool.
Okay.
My character came from the Orange Bowl. They knocked down the Orange Bowl and they built a baseball stadium for the Miami Marlins. Fast forward, 2024, shout out to Quake at Cushy Gigs. He gets me the gig to do a heritage jersey. They highlight Cuba, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico. So I grew up with Quake. He knows that I'm Puerto Rican. My family's from Puerto Rico, the Bronx, New York, and all that. So he got me to do the Puerto Rican jersey. So bam, I did the Puerto Rican jersey, but then I was like, I want to paint a mural in Lone Depot Park. So I painted a mural there, and I have my oranges in the same like area that the Orange Bowl once stood. And it just so happens to be that I chose the spot that's right where they have the like shout out and the homage, or the like shrine or whatever mention. There's like one part of the ballpark where there's the history of the Orange Bowl, and I'm right there. Like you're looking at it, and then like you just look to the left or you look to the right, and you see my stuff right there. It's really cool. So painting for the Miami Marlins was a big deal for me. I've done stuff with the Dolphins. I've done stuff with the Heat, like one thing for the Heat, and one thing for the Dolphins, one thing for I don't know who else. The Canes, I never really did anything. Like we did something, but it never really got like aired or highlighted or featured or whatever. That never went through. Those are just like the professional. I would like to do something for the Panthers, But as far as like other collaborations go, I've worked with UVD Toys is a big one for me. UVD Toys is based out of Dayton, Ohio, and they made my first vinyl toy.
Oh,
and
nice.
I should have went to the gift shop at the museum because they have it for sale in there.
Oh, it's dope.
It's like a vinyl toy, and you know, Kid Robot kind of set that off. There's, I'm sure, a bunch of people that did vinyl toys prior to Kid Robot, but that's like what I can think of as far as vinyl toys go. So to have my character made in a 3D format, that's like a toy, is very cool to me. We've done 2 of them. We're in the like middle of the second drop right now, and that's really cool. I've collaborated with a lot of people. I've done things with a bunch of different brands. Extra Large was cool. You know, it was really cool what the Japanese did, because it started off as a brand. I believe one of the Beastie Boys and someone else started Extra Large or X Large, the clothing line with the gorilla as the logo, and then a Japanese entrepreneur bought it, and they featured me. They were like activating for Basel, so they hit me up, and I designed like a collection with them through Super Chief Gallery. That was cool. But what they did, they like had a basketball tournament in Liberty City.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And it was incredible. They had like a pyramid of basketballs. We did basketballs with my character on it, and it was a pyramid of basketballs that was probably, you know, 10 feet high, let's say, or 7 feet high. It had to have been 100 or 250 basketballs. It was dope. And all the clothes and stuff. I went to Japan, Tokyo, did like a drop in their store, signed a bunch of stuff. It was really cool. But yeah, the collaborations never really like end. I've done a lot, and I have a lot in the books or in the plans, in the making. So yeah.
Yeah, you've done a lot of collaborations with other artists too, which is dope.
Yeah.
Personally, I like the one you did recently for the 4th of July with Comic. I thought that was really dope.
Yeah, Comic's a man. I was at his house, and I was in his garage, and his garage is like his man cave. It has like all of his fishing stuff, all of his like woodworking stuff, all of his boating stuff, and like then he has all of his art stuff as well. And I'm seeing all these pieces like in the rafters of his garage. I'm like, yo, dude, I'm taking these pieces right now. They're just sitting here collecting dust.
Yeah.
And then I painted on them, and you know, we sold a couple of them, but they're cool. I'm gonna show those for Basel.
Really? Okay.
In December, the first week of December, I'm gonna do my yearly show during Art Basel, and I'm gonna highlight the works that I did with Comic, and you know, works that I've done throughout this year, and some more work that I'll make probably like right up until the end, and yeah.
It's dope that you still like, you know, collaborate with a lot of different artists out here as well. Is there any other artists that you've connected with, like outside of the you know, Miami, you know, this area in general, that you've done work with?
Yeah. I painted with a bunch of artists all around the world, and it's cool. Working with people that don't have a graffiti background is interesting, and it's fun.
I saw one with Altair Rodriguez.
That's what I was going to mention. The ball.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
So,
yeah.
So he did a painting, I think, when he was in elementary school, and did like a still life of an orange, or maybe 2 oranges, like a still life of some oranges. And he wanted me to paint my character face on top of the orange. So that was cool. But then he proposed a collaboration idea, and it's to make a golf ball with my character on it. And then he has not the Titleist, but it's called the Freshest, or he has a brand that's based off of the golf logo and the popular golf ball Titleist or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to drop that. I have no idea when. I sent him the design and the proof, and I haven't heard back from him. That was like a few months ago. So if you're seeing this, please let me know what's up with it.
Yeah.
Out there.
Nah, that's dope, man.
Yeah.
And shout out to him, bro, because I thought that was a really dope painting that y'all did together. After everything that you've done so far, man, like, you know, you've done countless events and stuff like that. What event that you've done, like, you know, recently or even, you know, back in the day, was something that stood out to you, that's something that you still remember to this day?
The Orange Bowl things are cool, you know, painting on the Orange Bowl, Food and Wine. I think I've done that 2 times, and I'm going to partner with them for a 2nd year in a row. So shout out to the Orange Bowl Committee. Their Food and Wine Festival at the Hard Rock is incredible. I highly recommend attending it if you haven't. There was painting for Fountain Blue was kind of a big deal for me. It was cool, you know, painting right there in in the Fontainebleau lobby. I'm gonna do that again for Basel. I paint everywhere, and it's just like the same thing. It's copy and paste for me. It's just, you know, step and repeat. I just do my thing. If someone tells me like, we want you to paint, okay, let's work out the numbers, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do my thing and just activate. Painting at the Children's Museum was cool, right there on Watson Island. The Miami Children's Museum was amazing. That was cool. It's fun when people get involved in the work. That was kind of the same thing as the Food and Wine Festival. Like, I'll just do my thing in black on a white canvas or whatever it is, and then the people come in with the colors and do their thing, and then I finish it up after and break out the black and the white and mask off the background, and you know, it's a complete piece after that. But yeah, I love painting live and doing my thing. I think it's a fun view of the work.
Of course, man. Now, I'm sure that, you know, while you're out there, you're listening to some type of music. Who are you listening to when you're painting, or who do you like to listen to?
So, you know, lately I've been riding more than I've been painting. And when I ride my bicycle, I just put my music on shuffle. I go to songs and I put it on shuffle. I can say that I've been listening to Fade a lot.
Okay,
That was
dope.
a very cool collaboration for me. He hit me up, said, yo, I want to come by the studio, because I guess he had some trouble purchasing a piece on my website. So we came to the studio and pulled up and picked out a couple pieces and bought a couple pieces. That was cool. But then he presented me with an idea, and he's like, yo, I want you to like do something for my tour. I'm about to go on tour. So I did some digital graphics, and he put that behind his like stage. To see him rock the crowd, rock the Kasaya Center 2 nights in a row was like impressive. That was a very cool activation right there. I'd like to listen to Barrington Levy. I like to listen to Kendrick Lamar.
Dope.
I listen to a bunch of different artists, you know, Eddie Palmieri, rest in peace. I listen to a lot of reggae. I listen to a lot of salsa. I listen to a lot of rap, hip hop. I like rock and roll, heavy metal. I like it all. Growing up, my brother, rest in peace, was into a lot of different music, and we shared a room growing up. So I used to have to listen to his music, because he was the bigger brother. He had the record player, he had the tape player and the CD player and the sound system. He went to New World for music. He was into music, you know?
Yeah.
This was a big thing in growing up. I was always listening to his music, and he wasn't a rapper. If you looked at him, you'd think he was like a headbanger or like a hippie, or then he got into like raving and shit. So I've been listening to all types of different music throughout my life, and I like it all, you know?
That's dope.
You know, I don't have to necessarily understand the language to like the music. I listen to a lot of music that I don't understand what they're saying. I just hear the music and feel the vibe and the beat and the lyrics and all the different instruments, and I just get into it. I just listen to it, you know? So, yeah, that's, you know, I keep my playlist on repeat. I don't really focus on, like, one style of music.
That's dope. Is there any particular songs or artists that have inspired any of your pieces?
Well, Tupac, you know, we're over here. I remember back in the days looking at Tupac's video. Can't remember the one, but he was out there in LA, and he was like, there was graffiti in the background, and I remember that. I think there might have been a Pale piece, rest in peace, Pale from STP Crew. Tupac's video with the graffiti was dope and inspired me. As far as music, Cypress Hill early on, you know, album cover art like Iron Maiden was really dope. They had like Eddie, that crazy like skeleton, like with the wild like graphics and stuff. There was also Jimi Hendrix album covers that were dope. You know, album cover art and music videos and things like that inspired me. And I can't necessarily, there was the Artifacts, rest in peace, Tame One from New Jersey. He had a song with L, the sensei, and it was called Wrong Side of the Tracks. And it was all about graffiti. And it was kind of like the anthem for graffiti. So whenever you heard that one song, it was like, oh, you know, all the graffiti writers would go crazy for the song, whatever. And that is like kind of the anthem for the graffiti writers from the 90s, you know?
Man, it's funny you say that, man. Rest in peace, Tame One, because I actually, on that tour, I have a stop where I talk about the piece that's down the street from here.
Yeah, Artifacts.
Right, the Artifacts piece.
Yeah.
Do you know who painted that piece?
I think it was Menace, and I think Menace is from New Jersey.
Okay.
So I think that it was Menace from New Jersey that painted the piece, the tribute to Tame One.
That's dope.
Yeah, he was dope. I think he's like a Redman's cousin, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Redman dropped a new album, Muddy Waters 2.
Yep.
And he had Tame One on the album. And it's crazy how you, like, remember, I was talking about my dead homie's art out there. I saw his tag.
Yeah.
So it's one thing, like, when someone passes and they leave stuff behind, and you can still see, like, damn, this person did this when they were living and still alive, and here, like, creating their work. It's the same for rappers, you know?
Right.
Now that Tame is gone, we still, like, have his music, some of it that is unreleased, that he just put on his album, and it's dope. I was listening to a song. Damn, is that Tame? Like, sure enough, it's Tame 1 on the new Redman album, and he's been dead for, like, a year or 2 or 3, I don't know.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Tame 1 from the Artifacts crew. He was dope.
Yeah, he was, man. And I think it's so dope that you're able to provide, like, insight on that because, you know, I feel like there's a lot of people that will see these types of pieces and they won't really, like, understand it, or they'll wonder, like, why is that even here? Or, like, who is it?
Yeah,
You know
well, they
what I mean?
can't read it. They don't even know. Like, if you see, like, Biggie or Tupac, or you see Bob Marley, or you see, like, a Kobe, you're going to know who that person is. Their face is, like, it's recognizable. No one knows, I don't want to say no one knows, but a lot of people don't know who Tame 1 is, who the Artifacts were, and what he looks like. And then the graffiti underneath it that says Tame and Artifacts crew, like, you can't even read that. So, you know, I may be wrong. I don't want to say that, like, Menace did it, but if I could guess, it was Menace.
We'll definitely get an answer for sure because I'm sure if you watch this, you're going to be like, it was me or not.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, that's dope, man. And I'm glad you were able to provide that insight. Speaking of which, like, today is Friday, and that means for you is Free Art Friday.
Yeah.
Talk about, like, how you came up with that, you know, the response that you've gotten so far.
So Free Art Fridays, shout out to Sergio, registered artist. He was the one that put me on to Free Art Fridays, and it was a Facebook group. This was pre-IG. And basically it was a group that you would make a piece of art, you would drop it somewhere, take a picture, post it to the group, and say, this is here, go and get it. And I did that, like, I want to say 3 times after he told me and put me on. And the same person, I dropped it in the same area, mind you. I dropped it here in Wynwood, and there was this one dude, Chai T, shout out to Chai T, he got the 3 pieces that I dropped. And I got discouraged because I was like, man, this is whack. Like, I want different people to get it.
Right.
Like, so I was dropping in the same place and I got the same result each time. And I don't know if I did it once a month or once a week or whatever, but I stopped doing Free Art Fridays. I think I only did, like, let's say 3 or 5 drops. But then fast forward, I don't know, 5 years later, maybe 10 years later, I don't remember my first Free Art Friday. You'd have to ask this dude because I'm sure it has a date on it. I think it was like 2013 when I did those.
Okay.
I think I've been doing it now. I don't know how many years I've been doing it now, but definitely I took a break. And now what I do is I make a piece of art and I go and I drop it somewhere. Or now, I did that for a few years, so it would be limited to people that were in Dade County or in wherever the area I was at. So I drop it, take a picture, and say, hey, this is on whatever intersection or whatever landmark, and maybe geotag it or whatever, and then people will go and get it. Now what I'm doing is instead of, I will kind of like drop it in the same area, just how I dropped those first 3 ones in Wynwood. Like, I usually drop down in South Dade, and there's only so many places you can go and drop in South Dade that, like, you know, maybe 100 different people will get it, or maybe not even. It's just kind of like I want to spread it out. So now what I'm doing is I'm saying, hey, if you want a painting, it's Free Art Friday. I'm giving away a piece. Comment this, and then I randomly select a comment, and then I ship the piece to whoever. And I shipped a piece to Brazil. I don't know if you got it yet, but usually when my core following is in Miami or in South Florida. So a lot of the people that I pick are in Miami, Florida. I think I've maybe picked like 2 or 3 people so far that have been out of the state, and only one of those people has been out of the country. So it's cool to see, like, my art going to different places, not just for people in Miami or whatever. You know, it's Free Art Friday. Win a piece of free art. That's what it boils down to. I mean, we can, you know, receive and get the bag, get the painting, sell your shit, whatever. That's cool, but are you giving back? Like, that's my little way of giving back. There's levels to giving back. I want to do all sorts of, like, nonprofit work and give back to the community, do stuff for the kids. I usually will not charge when it comes to painting in schools. I love painting in schools because that, like, inspires the youth, and that's important to me. Someone just sent me something today about painting in a hospital and that it brightens up hospitals, you know. And I did something at Jackson South where I like did some chalk on the ground or whatever. That was cool, but like I want to start looking into painting in hospitals. You know, I'll holler at Baptists. I was born in Baptist. I follow Baptists. They follow me. Like, hey, Baptist, can I paint a mural? Like, it's weird, you know. There's levels to it,
right?
To those things, because a hospital is a business. So I'm not going to go and paint in the hospital for free when they're charging you $100 for a Tylenol pill. You get what I'm saying?
For
real. Whatever, you know. But I like painting for free, and I usually paint for free. I do this for myself. I do this for my crew, my friends, my family, the culture down here. And to me, it's not about the bag and getting paid to do this. Like, I do this for myself. And on top of that, I'm risking my freedom to go and do this, you know? A lot of the stuff that I paint, I'm not commissioned or even allowed to be painting. I'm doing this, rolling the dice, and doing it illegally without permission, and sometimes I'm trespassing. So, you know, there's levels to, like, Free Art Friday.
Right. Yeah. I can tell, dog.
There's levels to it, you know?
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, you know, everybody got to, you know, that everybody that supports got to understand that, you know, free is free, but, you know, it's good to give a donation every once in a while to help your cause, though.
A lot of people hit me up. You can't believe how many people hit me up. Like, yo, I got a wall. Come paint it. And I'm like, okay, what size is the wall? I'll give you a quote. And then it's just crickets, you know?
Damn.
And it is what it is, you know? I mean, I wish that I went to school for business, to be completely honest to you, because doing business is not easy.
Nah, it's
especially when you're passionate about what you do and it turns into a business. So, like, if you care about this, you've been doing this for so long, and then it becomes a business, and people are trying to, like, buy your stuff, and you're selling it for, like, pennies. Like, it's. I think for artists, when you sell your work for a certain price, you don't go down after that. You got to stay, like, going up.
Right.
And I wish I would have followed that, because it's not easy. You know, I feel like if I did follow that business model of, like, you know, keeping a certain price structure to my work and size, the size of my work and how much I charge for it, I might be in a better place, whatever. Not to say that I'm broke, but, like, you know, it's not easy to make it as an artist. A lot of people are very talented and don't sell their art, don't ever get shine for their art because of that. It's hard to, like, do something in your personal space and then, like, put it into the public's eye, or put it into a gallery and, like, stand in a gallery and talk about it. It's like, there's levels to it, you know? So,
of course.
Yeah, business is difficult when you mix business with your passion, and that can go for a number of things. It doesn't have to be about visual arts. There's, you know, there's a way to conduct business. And,
of course,
you know,
man.
Yeah.
Do you have any other events that are coming up?
Yeah, I got events. I'm going to do the Ride Out, the Puerto Rican Day Parade in Philadelphia, which is next month. So shout out to Catch Me in Traffic. They invited me to come through, so I'm going to do that ride out. And it's just me, like, going out there to ride a bicycle. I can't do wheelies. I can't do bunny hops. I could ride with no hands. Like, that's it. Like, on these ride outs, people are, like, really flexing, you know? They're, like, swerving, and they're, like, doing all this work and stuff. It's kind of crazy. But that's the next event that I have in the books right now. I just confirmed for Basel, for Fountain Blue. So I believe on Friday, December 5th, I'm going to be in the Blue Bar in the lobby of Fountain Blue on Miami Beach painting, probably from 7 to 11, let's say. So that's, like, the next thing that's locked in. I have a bunch of stuff in between that. Things just start popping up out of nowhere. So right now I probably have, you know, a couple things written down on my calendar.
Right.
But from now till whenever this drops, or Basel, I'm going to have, like, 100 different events that I'm doing. So I would say to come to my thing that I do a yearly thing on the Thursday before our Basel. So if Friday is December 5th, on Thursday, December 4th, I'm going to have my personal solo exhibition that I do every year.
Dope.
And just come through, check it out. I usually have a bunch of new art, and then I'll have select merchandise, shirts, pins, whatever, toys, who knows what, prints.
Yeah.
I don't know what collabs I'll have. But it's cool, you know. I keep it underground, you know. It would be cool if it's in, like, a nice gallery space. I might do something over at the Good Days 305. Shout out to Hiroshima.
Dope.
NYC. He just opened up a really cool space in Alapata. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff in the works. So just stay tuned. You know, I post everything I do on my IG, and that's pretty much it. You know, just follow me there, and I'll post whatever I'm gonna do.
That's what's up, man. Before we wrap, let the people know where they can follow you.
Yeah, on IG, I'm Atomik, Atomik, and it'll pop up. I'm Atomiko, Atomiko on IG, and that's I'm hooked on IG. I need to like really just chill with like just doom scrolling, because it's one thing to like conduct business, but it's another thing to just chat with your friends or
Yeah.
scroll through stories and things like that. So it's weird, you know. I really get like on IG too much, and I kind of despise it at this point. Like, I feel the app is like, you know, when I started, it was 2011. It was just square format.
Yeah.
It's for iPhone only, photos only. Now it's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, man.
You know,
I
you
feel
can sell your stuff through IG. You can promote and pay and advertise, and like, it's just crazy what IG is now versus what it was when I first started. But yeah,
course,
follow
yeah.
me on IG, hit me up. I'm checking my DMs. I'm on it way too much, and please just get me off my phone.
Well, I don't know how long it's going to take for you to do that, man,
Yeah.
but we'll definitely be following, bro.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you for coming through, man. It's Atomik out here. You already know who this is, Tony MC. You can follow me at _Tony MC. Follow the podcast at Rap Basil 305. And make sure to hit up Airbnb right now to book your Rap Basil Experience tour. You already know what it is. Peace.